Now I'm going to ask Sister Raghad to share her story, what happened to her as they had to flee from their villages. Raghad?
Thank you. Good morning. I hope you are not tired now. I want to thank you because you allowed to me to share my story with you. The story of the persecution of a Christian in Iraq began in 2003 after the declaration of war by America and appearance a group of elements hidden of ISIS, which means the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, or Daesh. We did not know exactly the name, which worked to kill and kidnap Christians and try to force them out of their homes. In Mosul, they attempted to explode the Convent of Mother House and killed Bishop Faraj Rahu and Father Raghad Saeed with their deacons in Mosul, exploding and kidnapped the student buses. I was with this group at that time. My story started on the 4th of June 2014 when I was in a laboratory teaching university students at Mosul University, and the voices sounded warning us to leave as soon as possible. I walked home. I live with 4 Dominican sisters in one of the convents near the university, Deir el-Kalima, on the west side of Mosul. We did not know what was happening. We just rushed out, realizing that something serious was happening without warning. After a few hours, we heard the news that curfew would continue for several days. The situation began to worsen with finishing what food we had and the presence of some students who live with us in the internal section attached to the convent. Everyone in their homes were waiting for what will happen on the east side of Mosul, but the situation was controlled by what we heard from our government. The explosions and shelling began throughout the day and with the night. So we thought that ISIS could break into our homes. I remember the last Sunday in the city of Mosul, we went to the Mass under the heavy bombardments. There were very few Christian families. Our hymns started mixed with the sound of bombs and built with signs of fears of the future. Some of the Christian family decided to go out to the more secure areas, but we preferred to stay with the rest of families to be with them to cheer them up. This did not end here. On the night of the 9th of the same month, we were shocked when a priest with a Dominican sister from the east side came. We were informed that ISIS had control over all the east side, but maybe we would be safe here. Unfortunately, this hope was only for a few hours. At 12 o'clock in that morning, ISIS took control of all governmental institutions declaring the Islamic State in Iraq. One of sisters came to my room with tears and fear in her eyes. Raghad, quickly get up. We should leave now. We do not have time. The sound of bombs and explosion were increasing, so we received many calls to leave. The families started to save their lives and their children by running away. Later, we found a car with 3 families inside it. There was no place in the car. So I decided with one of the young sisters to walk along by car, and when the bombing took place, we were trying to jump quickly inside the car to protect ourselves. In the meantime, I was accepted to study in England and at the University of Leicester to complete my PhD. But I had lost all the official papers that provided it. Yes, we could not take anything with us. It was very painful with the cries of children and the nagging fears of mothers for what would happen to us. The road seemed longer than usual. We spent several hours in the olive grove, and we delivered our souls to the hand of God until we arrived to a village to spend some time there because the road of pain was all the night. We were surprised that we could not go by car to Baghdad Karakosh, which is another village, Christian village. All roads were blocked to prevent arriving ISIS to our village. We decided to walk again until the next afternoon because we did not have anything in our hands. Here, most of Muslims' family decided to follow ISIS. Our neighbors and friends who lived with them for a long time, and even our students who taught, became part of the terrorist organization that gave 3 options for us as Christians. The first one, pay the tribute to stay in our homes. Yes, our neighbors and friends betrayed us, whom we trust them for several years, by helped the terrorist organization to find Christian homes and write on real estate of the Islamic State and sign, because they even tried to steal our homes before that. And the terrorist organization did that in the sense that everything concerning Christians is for ISIS only. 2, convert to Islam. 3, if we did not choose the previous 2 choices, we would be killed by the sword. Then, after our arrival in Karakosh, we witnessed the miracle that happened to us. But I soon realized that I had lost the opportunity to resume my doctorate plan because the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research in Baghdad stopped all our papers as Mosul was not safe. I was very disappointed. Yes, they stole everything we have, our church, all our possessions, and even stole our future and our hopes. But we preferred to perceive our faith. In spite of all this, my suffering did not end. 2 months after this incident, exactly on August 6th, and with the withdrawal of the Kurdish forces, which also promised to protect us as Christians, the terrorist organization was able to enter our village. After several days under shelling and the martyrdom of 3 Christians in our village, the conflict in the olive grove repeated itself for the second time. We fled with the rest of the Christians' family towards safer areas. We headed towards Erbil, which is run by the Kurdistan regional government. Everything happened quickly. We did not have anything when we came out, and when arrived, we did not have food, dresses, and even a suitable place to sleep. Church squares and gardens were full of confused Christians who did not know where they could go and did not even know their fate for the days to come, until a group of tents and caravans were occupied for us and for them. It is actually these days that are impossible to forget because we had a lot of pain in it. Why is this happening to us? We ask it. Is our God not with us? But as Dominicans, we were in the midst of the suffering and pain of the families, and in their service spiritually and morally, and with the help of the legal organizations and the church to provide what they need. Finally, 3 years later, we were able to return to our village after the terrorist organization was expelled. In fact, some elements and their thoughts are still hiding in the cities. Our government is still unable to protect our rights as Christians. This is forcing many families to find refuge at different places in the world. We have separated. We no longer trust our Muslim neighbor. How we can live and return among them to educate and help them. We feel we have no future in Iraq. We want to live free and in peace in a country that respects and appreciates our potentials. For me, it was not easy to come and live in a country with the same people who contributed to the destruction of my country. But I got scholarship from the Catholic University of America with the help of one of the Dominican Sisters of America. Now, I have started studying the doctorate. I ask with all my heart that you carry me and my wounded country in your prayers. God alone can save the Iraqi people from their suffering. In the end of this thing, I have some picture to share with you to describe what happened to us during these days. as a final sheet is talk about we have the God, we will stay singing for the peace to be with us. And if God will be with us, we'll be in safe. Thank you.